And so again, today our training is brought to you by our partners over at San Bernardino County. And today we are pleased to be joined by Deneen Gordon, who is a business services representative, who's here to share more about the resources available to employers like you. Good morning, Deneen.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this workshop. My name, Deneen Gordon. I work for San Bernardino County. I'm a business service representative. And thank you to all of those that are attending today. As far as business services, if you look on the screen there, you'll see a lot of what we have to offer. Many of you may already know this, some of you may not, but this is a really great services and information that we definitely offer you. As you see there, I will drop in the chat a copy of this flyer that pretty much shows you what we have to offer. And a lot of different counties out there offer similar information and services. But just to touch on a couple of them, you see there recruitment services. We assist with that. We host job fairs. We have 3 American Job Centers. And in the 3 in the county, we have one in San Bernardino, one in Rancho Cucamonga, and one up in Victorville. We have job fairs there. We either host it in-house or we have them in various locations within those areas. So just want to let you know about that. That can be great so that, you know, if you're looking for job seekers, that's a way to, come, let us know that you're wanting to attend the event and come and find folks that you're looking for. And then as you see down the list, I'm not going to touch on every single one of them, but so we got the recruitment services, we've got the job fairs, also on the job training funds. So if you're looking to hire someone and maybe you want to hire them, but they don't have the skills, we've got that on the job training funds, and we can go into more about it. In the flyer, you can always hover over that QR code and it will get you in touch with whoever you would need to speak with, and we can go over more details about that if you're interested. And then also, as you look down the list, the HR hotline, that's a great one because it's free. It's complimentary to those businesses in the county. So if you have any questions about anything HR related, go ahead and utilize that because, again, it is free. So just wanted to touch on a few of those. And like I said, I will put the flyer in the chat. So thank you, everyone. And Anna.
All right. Thank you, Deneen, Carmela, Angelica, the entire team behind the scenes over at San Bernardino for everything that you do for employers in your county. We really love our partnership with you. So now I'd love to introduce our trainers today. We have Keisha Hansen, our Learning and Development Director, who will be leading the presentation, and Mary Bradford, our Senior HR Director, who will be managing the Q&A. So you're in great hands. And Keisha, it is all yours.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, San Bernardino. All those 3 locations I've actually been to in person. So I've seen you in action, which is awesome. We love collaborating with San Bernardino. So if you are, Anna said she saw a few familiar faces, but if you are joining us for the first time, just very briefly want to explain who California Employers Association is. We are a human resource association. We have been in business for over 80 years. And really our goal, our philosophy, our mission, our vision is to provide employers that we work with peace of mind. And that includes the exceptional human resource compliance solutions, the trainings we do, which one of you're attending, but we also do private trainings. We can go to your business, we can come on site, we can do a customized training, we can do a virtual one just for your business. And also we do offer coaching services as well. So if any of that piques your interest, you can either call the 800 number listed below or the one specifically for you, the hotline number that was on the previous slide. And although we're kind of switching gears a little bit today in that we're not covering compliance, we still need to give our lawyers peace of mind by letting you know that this presentation should not be relied upon as legal advice. But we do partner with several lawyers throughout the state of California. So if that is of interest to you, also give us a call and hopefully we can partner you with someone in your area. So I said we're switching gears. We're talking about self-leadership today. And I think with everything that's going on in our world and in our workplaces, lots of change, a lot of us tend to focus on others, especially if we're in positions of leadership, supervisory, or even if you're a leader of one, maybe you're a leader of your family or a leader in the community. But we don't sometimes focus on ourselves and how do we lead our best lives. So that's kind of the focus today, which I'm excited about. And hopefully that's what piqued your interest in attending. So we're going to kind of cover, and some of this might be a review or refresher, but for some reason you needed it today to attend. And we always say, we hope this is helpful in some way, that you can take away one thing that you can put into action or you can remember going forward. So we're going to talk about creating a vision and goals. And especially in the workplace, something we hear a lot from employers is, how do I keep my employees engaged? And something that employees report is, gosh, I really don't know what the vision is of this company or this organization. So setting those clear visions for yourself can then lead into setting more clear visions for your company, for your business, for your department. Even again, if you are a leader of one, how you participate within that team and organization. We're also going to talk about goal setting. Some people love it. Some people don't do it or dread it, but it can be important. It can serve as a guide for you. And then in terms of leading ourselves, we need to know ourselves well. And leading with emotional intelligence has been trending for quite a while in the workplace, but it is so critical to leading our best lives, but also in terms of leading others as well. And then we'll wrap it up with, how do we stay motivated, again, especially under these unprecedented times, lots of changes. How do we keep motivated to achieve those goals that we want to? And I know that everybody here has achieved a goal in the past. So we want to kickstart that again and see what we can accomplish in this short time that we have together. So you've been so great in participating in the chat. My first question for you is kind of what brought you here. What does self-leadership mean to you in your current role? Is there something you're looking to improve, acquire, increase? What does self-leadership mean? How does it show up for you? Feel free to put that in the chat. And while you'll do that, I'll just give you a brief little definition. When we think of self-leadership, it's really the process of us taking responsibility for our own actions, our own behaviors and growth. It's intentionally influencing our thinking, right? Being able to respond to how we think or feel, going back to emotional intelligence, knowing what our triggers are, and really knowing who we are, what our values are as people and as employees, as leaders, so that we can pursue the right goals and objectives in our careers, in personal lives. So it's really about going inwards a bit, which sometimes, again, we're so busy running on that treadmill of life that we don't take stock every now and then and say, gosh, where am I at? Where do I want to be? And many of us are at different stages in our lives. Some of us are just starting in our careers, starting within the organizations, and we have pretty clear visions. Some of us might be in the middle and kind of thinking, I've been here for a while. What do I want to achieve going forward? Or some of us are thinking, gosh, I really want to make a tremendous change in my life right now. Well, these are great. Thank you. Thank you for these answers, everyone. So we're going to go a little inward today, which I hope you don't mind. And I'm going to talk about a survey that Gallup has done and has continued to do, but they started it in 2005. And they did a comprehensive study of the whole world, as much as they could, 160 countries, to identify specifically, what are the key areas of well-being for people. And what happened as a result is they identified these key elements of well-being, and purpose and career are actually at the top we put career in parentheses because not at all times are we in a career where we're paid to do. But in order for us to really have that satisfaction and sense of accomplishment and sense of achievement, and provide us that sense of well-being, purpose really lies at number one. Really liking what you do each day, being motivated to achieve your goals. And I can think back on my career, and there were jobs I had where, you know, I just needed the money, right? Or it was maybe just something that maybe somebody else influenced me to take on that job. Whereas we're seeing in younger generations now that they really come into a job looking for the values to align with theirs, a company's values to align with theirs, and really to feel that sense of purpose and meaning. So part of that, if you are in a position of leadership, is really getting clear on what is your mission, what is your purpose at your organization, and then displaying that and expressing that to employees so that they know what they do matters, right? What they do, regardless of the position, regardless of the title, is really contributing to the success of that organization. And what we find when we see lower engagement with employees is they really don't have that connection. Nobody's really giving them the why as to why are we doing this? What's the purpose? So whatever job you have, you want to find that purpose. You want to be able to like what you do each day, because when you like what you do each day, you do it well. It gives you that environment where you're really going to excel and succeed. When you have that sense of purpose and career, these other four elements of well-being usually fall into place. And I can tell you the opposite of when I was in a job where it really didn't fit my values, it really didn't align with who I was, didn't really align with my strengths. It led into those other four not really matching up, right? I was kind of depressed, so I didn't really reach out to friends as much. It might have been a job that was paying financially, but maybe I still felt insecure about the role because I really wasn't feeling that sense of belonging within the company or the organization. I really wasn't looking to make myself enjoy being in my community, and it did impact my physical health as well. So if you have that sense of purpose at your job now, which is great if you do, I saw a lot of you telling what positions you have, and I'm sure that you have a sense of meaning and purpose with those roles. But sometimes we can get a little stuck. And so we're going to do a little exercise. And yes, I'm going to give you a couple minutes just to be silent to do this exercise. I'll time it and tell you when to stop. But we're going to look at a slide of core values. These are the most common core values that we have. And I'm going to give you a couple minutes to look at those core values. If you don't have the handout printed out, you can just write it on a piece of paper if you want. Hopefully you have a pen and paper. That's getting more and more rare these days. But if you don't, quickly, I can't see you, so quickly get a piece of paper or a pad if you don't have your handout printed out. But I will show you on the screen. And I want you to go through all the value words and circle the ones really quickly without thinking that you think resonate with you, that really give you meaning. And then when you've gone through all of them one time, I want you to go back and then choose 5 words that really define who you are to the core, that you need these in order to do your job. You need these in life. You need these to be able to be successful, to have well-being, to focus, to achieve the goals, and to be the driver of things within your organization that happen. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes on the clock. I know it's unprecedented in a webinar. We're going to let you do something. So 2 minutes, look at all the value words, circle or check off whatever way. I can't see, it's not being graded, and then go back and pick 5. Maybe I'll give you 1.5 minutes, just so we can get through the webinar. So what's coming up here? Just whatever resonates for you. Okay, anybody need more time? I'll give you about 30 more seconds. Really hone in on those 5 core values, which at the heart, we probably know what those are. But sometimes we need a refresher. We need a reminder of what's really important to us. What really shapes who we are as people, as employees, as leaders. And then this is totally voluntary, but if anybody wants to put in a couple that they found were really their core values, I'd love to see those in the chat too. Thank you, thank you. Oh, these are great. Belief, integrity, trust, growth, teamwork, ambition, mentoring, drive, respect, productivity, kindness. Oh, these are awesome. Yeah, when you hone in on those 5, family, dedication, creativity. Yeah, when you hone in on those 5 and you look at those 5, or you think about those 5 areas of well-being, we really need those core values, right? When we don't have those core values present, it becomes harder to have that sense of purpose, to have that sense of, do I have enough time with my family? Do I like the community where I'm living? Am I always worried about making enough money, or am I okay? What's my work environment like? What kind of work environment am I responsible for contributing to? So it can kind of take an inner look, and you can even ask more questions about those core values. Do they exist currently in my personal life, in my professional life? Do they cross over? Do I need to focus on areas of this, just as we do when we know our strengths? Are we really using our strengths? And a lot of these have to do with our strengths. If you've ever taken the Clifton Strengths, belief is that someone mentioned is a strength. Really, to have those core value, that core belief in something or someone can really drive you. And of course, for all of us, it's going to be a little bit different because we're all individuals, right? So we want to make sure when we're creating those components of a vision that we really have those core values in mind. So once you have those 5 core values, you might want to ask some additional questions. Again, is this in existence in those 5 areas of well-being? And then what do I need to do if I want to, turn it up a notch for those core values? Or maybe at times for some of us, it's non-existent, right? If we're overworking, maybe we don't have time as much for family. So maybe we need to do something in order to change that, so that if family is my core value, that's what I need to concentrate on. By creating a personal vision, we can kind of set some things in action, right? We can think about it, which, I'm a thinker, I'm a critical thinker, I'm analytical, but I can think too much sometimes. So creating that personal vision can help us start developing some short and long-term goals. If I don't have this one element present, what can I do? Someone mentioned creativity. If my job right now isn't very creative, how can I make it more creative? Or what can I do outside of my work to establish that creativity? Or what can I change in my work environment that makes me feel more creative, right? That motivates me, that stirs those creative values that I have. So creating those short and long-term goals, really aligning those values with them, and thinking about, what are you interested in achieving? What do you want to achieve? Knowing what your core values are, what interests you, what ambitions do you have? As someone said, ambition is one of my core values. So what are you looking to achieve? And then also, what are your strengths? What do you do really well that's going to help you get there? If you're ambitious, are you also a learner that can help you with your ambition? Are you a strong communicator so you can network with people that can really help you get there? So what are some things that you really want to focus on? And again, if your core values are about making a difference, what is the difference that you're hoping to make, right? Really getting getting deep and getting specific about things. And why a personal vision is important, because it can also help you align your personal and professional vision. Sometimes they can overlap, right? And it also gives you a clearly defined roadmap. And again, if we are leaders and we're thinking about engaging employees, we really want to give them a defined roadmap as well. This is what we're going to focus on. This is what our vision is within the department and company. And this is what I would like us to focus on. It can also help you from avoiding any detours, distractions, because you're really clear on what you're trying to achieve. And we know, as human beings, we know we've tried to achieve goals before. We know there's going to be some bumps and bruises along the way, but if we're clear on what our vision is, we're going to stay looking forward. We're not going to dwell on those when those bumps come up. We're going to think about what can happen in the future. And then they're a great guide for you and your company for achieving goals. We do a program for managers called LEAD, which is coming up on October 21st. And one of the things we talk about is performance management and coaching for success. And people say, well, gosh, I have a hard time giving feedback, or I have a hard time setting goals with my employees. So this can be a really good guide for you. And then when you get clear, you can help your employees create some goals together, because when your employee has the ability to participate in that goal setting, then they're more likely to have higher buy-in in that goal and a bigger commitment in achieving it. So as you're developing that vision statement, you might ask yourself some questions. What do I want to achieve, and what's my why? And again, if you're sharing this with goals for your personal vision, professional vision with your employees, they always want to know the why. Why are we doing this? Why is it going to be significant? Is it contributing to our overall mission and vision? Thinking about what areas that you love already, what areas energize you, and then given the opportunity, what job functions would you delegate? Again, in that program that we do with managers, I tell them delegation is one of the most underutilized tools that managers use. They tend to want to do things themselves. They tend to want to micromanage and not share the division of tasks and responsibilities, when it actually can be a great motivator for employees to have them look around and say, what tasks and duties and responsibilities are you interested in acquiring, right? Because as human beings, we're all curious. We want to continue to learn and grow. So being able to really focus on what you want to achieve might enable you to think of some tasks that you can delegate and that you can get off your plate, so that you can have that reflection time, that you can strategize for yourself and your professional career plans and goals. So then it comes down to actually setting the goal, right? Because if we think about things, we all think about things come up in our minds. We think, gosh, that would be a great thing to do. I'd really like to achieve that. But then we just leave it alone, right? We don't actually make it real. So just want to ask you, how do you guys do on setting goals? Let me put this poll up. And that's a single choice. Do you do it all the time? Those of you who are ambitious might always have goals in mind. Some of us are occasional, some of us are rarely, and some of us are just, going by the seat of our pants. Wherever the wind blows is where we go. And that, is actually a lot of people, right? And there's different reasons why we set goals or we think about goals, but we don't actually put them into action. It could just be we've been burned before. We didn't achieve what we wanted to achieve, so we just gave up. Or we don't really know. We haven't really honed in. We haven't done the work of really reflecting on what goal we do really want to achieve. Just going to share the results. All right. Okay, we're doing pretty good. Regularly, 44%. You always have goals you're working on. For those of you who really like to achieve things and get things done, that could be a motivator, right? To check that off. I achieved that goal, and that's a great accomplishment for you. You know, the majority, I think, well, not the majority here, but 42% occasionally. I set them when something comes up, and then 14% rarely. I prefer to see where things go. But again, if we're thinking about our well-being, we're thinking about what we want to achieve in our careers, in our personal lives, it can be so impactful to actually set a goal and achieve it. And this is one for you just to share if you want to, if you feel comfortable. Was there a goal recently or maybe just in the past that you've accomplished that brought you that sense of accomplishment, that really brought you that sense of purpose and well-being aligned, and it really aligned with your core goals? And if you can think of something, let us know in the chat what that is. What was that goal? Completing education, getting your degree, getting a permanent job after being temporary. Awesome. Promotion at work, getting over 1,000 attendees at the last job fair. That's amazing. That is great. And again, that probably serves your purpose of what you were intending to do with the job fairs. You wanted to get attendees, you wanted to get those job seekers there. Very cool. Hiring staff, adequate staff, absolutely accomplishment. Getting master's, BA. When we've accomplished those things, it can be a motivator as well, right? We accomplish one thing and then it sets us off to think, what else can I do, right? And keeping in mind that I have that capability. And I think another reason sometimes is maybe we've let ourselves down before, right? There could have been life circumstances that got in the way of us achieving that goal. And so we gave up. So you really want to keep on with what have I achieved in the past? I know I can do it. I did it then, I can do it again, right? And it's especially important if it aligns with your core values. Because if you're pursuing a goal that really isn't relevant to you, and sometimes we do have goals set sometimes in organizations and businesses that maybe we don't have a say in, but I'm talking about our own personal and professional goals. Sometimes maybe it's society that said, oh, you need to have purchased a house by the time you're this age, and it just didn't really settle with us, right? We tried it, but maybe it put us in more of a financial situation. So you have to pursue those goals that are specific to you, because again, we're all individuals. We have different ways of living and different values. So it has to be. That's really going to propel you if you choose the goals that are going to align with those core values and what you're interested in and what your strengths are. Someone mentioned to me the other day about a mother-in-law who was a marathon runner, and everybody who became a part of the family ended up running a marathon with her. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm glad I'm not in that family, because I have no interest in running a marathon. I admire people who do it and train for it. It's amazing, but it's not something on my bucket list. So imagine if I was told I had to run a marathon, I probably wouldn't be very successful. I'd probably be very sad about it, depressed. So it would definitely affect that sense of well-being. So we have to choose those goals that are really going to serve us and give us the explanation of why. Why are we doing this? And thank you for sharing. Those are all amazing. And when we do this live and in person, when we can see people's faces, the energy of the room just changes usually. Not that it was, doom and gloom before, but when we get into that chat, and usually I have people tell each other a goal that they've accomplished, it brings that energy, right? That sense of accomplishment, that sense of meaning, that sense of purpose. And so people feel a bit lighter, you know, around them. There's a better energy. So as we bring this into the workplace, when people have achieved those things, and some of those were personal, we want to acknowledge our employees for those. We want to recognize and say, oh my gosh, 1,000 attendees at that job fair, completing your master's, finding all the right staff, all of those things people also like to be acknowledged for. It reinforces that you're doing the right thing, and that also, if you are in a position of leadership, it's showing your employees that you care. It's showing your employees that you're invested in them. So it can just take a moment, right? Just to appreciate someone and recognize them for that accomplishment. It can really fill up our self-confidence moving forward. I think there's another challenge where employers always say to us they want employees who take initiative, right? Who ask for forgiveness, not permission on things. Well, when they have achieved things in the workplace, we want to give them that, reinforce that confidence by letting them know when we see things that they've done well and accomplished. So speaking of goals, I have 3 goals written up here, and I want you to share in the chat, what do you think these goals have in common? So the first one is, I'm going to stop procrastinating. Next one, I'm going to quit whining and finish my report. And the third one, I'm going to lose weight. So any idea what they all have in common? I love that one. They're weak. They could be better. Yeah, they're tied to self-improvement and self-reflection, improving oneself. Good. They also are, yeah, just a statement, no action. It really is kind of lingering in that desire to make changes and when it's based in the future. And I'd even go so far as to say they're a little bit negative, right? So I'm going to stop procrastinating. I have a problem with procrastinating. I'm going to stop. Isn't really setting us up, isn't really giving us motivation. And research indicates that it's easier to start a new behavior than stop a bad habit. So when we phrase it in that negative way, it's like that bad habit that we're trying to stop, right? I'm trying to stop procrastinating. I'm trying to stop smoking. When we rephrase it or reframe it in a more positive light, then they come to light. It gives us more energy. It gives us more confidence. It gives us more momentum to get going, right? That new habit. I'm going to focus on accomplishing that, you know, or there's that book out there, I don't know if you've heard of it, called Eat the Frog, right? Do that most difficult thing first. I'm finishing all my tasks today, or I'm finishing, you know, 9 out of 10. Make it realistic. I'm finishing my report on time so then I can enjoy my weekend. You know, also giving kind of a reward at the end. I'm working on losing weight so that I'm living a healthy lifestyle, right? Turning it into also a present thing. This is what I'm doing now, not I'm going to do it, right? Because when we say we're going to do things, sometimes they don't come to fruition, right? It doesn't give us enough energy or momentum to get there. And as someone said, we need some action items there. We need some action. But things, when we're thinking about considering a goal, every goal that we have is just similar to every change that happens. A change has to happen in our behavior. We're not doing something that we need to do. So what is the behavior that can influence the action? What behavior do I need to change in order to stop procrastinating? What behavior do I need to modify so that I can finish that report? You know, what things need to take place with my behavior so that I can lose weight, so that I am losing weight, that I am living a healthier lifestyle. And then we're going to track that in some way. We're going to measure it, right? Losing weight, how much weight, right? What's realistic? Or is it about a healthy lifestyle? Is it about lowering blood pressure or lowering cholesterol or lowering stress? It doesn't have to be aligned with weight if that's not a focus that's important or relevant to you, right? So it has to be relevant. It has to be going back to those core values and then setting that deadline. And I think this is where people get stuck as well, is, as we know, many of us start those goals on New Year's, right? New Year's resolutions. And New Year's resolutions, we're just going full force. We're putting everything into it, not even thinking about it. We're like, I'm just so tired of not doing this. I'm going to do it. And sometimes we overload. So by week 3, we're kind of burnt out on that goal, and we're not putting in realistic steps to make it happen. Or else sometimes life intercedes, right? There's other priorities that come in our way, and maybe we have to put that goal on hold for a moment and we don't achieve it. But when it's your goal, you set the deadline. As long as you're taking steps towards that deadline, if you don't meet that deadline, then you reframe it and say, okay, I'm going to give myself this amount of time in order to achieve it, right? Because again, you're leading your own life. You're leading what goals you want to achieve and how you're going to achieve them and by when. So a clear example, this is a person that's going to start a new behavior. They're living a healthier lifestyle by walking. So they're going to measure it. I'll walk 5 days a week for 30 minutes at a time. They're going to track it with an app or a calendar, and they're giving themselves a deadline of Monday through Sunday. So they've got 7 days in the week, but they're going to be walking 5. If they miss one day because life intercedes and something happened, they got interrupted, a distraction, some life event, then they have 2 other days to make it up. So it's a pretty good example of a goal where they're changing the behavior, they're measuring it, and they have a solid deadline. So other things to think about when setting those goals, and this is tried and true, is make it a SMART goal. And you see this almost everywhere now, but again, it can help you get really clear on that goal. And for those of you who may occasionally or rarely set a goal, this can be really helpful. So with a SMART goal, the first thing is it is specific. When someone says, I want to lose weight, that's specific, but not specific enough, right? How much weight, what is their why? Why are they losing the weight? What's going to be the momentum? And then once we get really specific on that goal, again, how are we going to measure it? If we take this back to the workplace and we're doing our performance review, we're checking in with our employee and we're saying, gosh, what goals did you want to set, Alvin, for this coming year with work? And Alvin says, well, I want to work on my communication skills. Well, that's a great goal, but it's very broad, right? Communication skills are so critical to what we do at work and how we lead and how we interact with everybody. But that can be pretty vague. So let's hone in on how can we get more specific with improving communication skills. Is it attending a training on communication? Is it you want to actually present more for the department? What do you want to achieve with that communication skills? So, and how are we going to measure it, right? How are we going to know that Alvin has become a better communicator? And then we also want to know, is it attainable? Things happen in life. Do you have enough resources in order to be successful with this goal? Sorry, just had a little something in my throat, not that frog though. Is the goal reasonable stretch, right? Are we just making it too easy, or are we making it too hard, like people do usually in January for their New Year's resolution? And what is going to be the outcome? What do I want to see happen? Is it going to help me be successful? What is the outcome that I would like to have? And then relevant, as someone put in the chat, is it worthwhile for me right now? Can I visualize what the outcome would be? Is it meaningful? Again, is it aligned with my core values? Or is it just something other people think I should do, right? We all have family, we all have chosen family friends who might think we should do something, even our bosses, but maybe it doesn't align with our core values. And Mary and I used to have a director who would ask us when new projects came about at CEA, new assignments, she would always ask, if you're interested in this, let me know. It isn't part of your core job duties or responsibilities, but let me know. So she gave everybody opportunity to share whether they were interested in a task or assignment that was kind of pushing them outside of their comfort zone. And I always felt very grateful for her for that, because not everything aligns with what we want to achieve or aligns with our innate and natural talents and strengths, right? If someone asked me to do an Excel spreadsheet where I was going to sit in a cubicle all day working on that, that does not align with my core values or my strengths. So that would not be a good goal for me to achieve. Then we want it to be timely, right? What is a deadline so that it spurs us on to actually take action on things and not just have it be a dream or a thought or a fantasy. It's something that really has a deadline. And again, life happens, so we may have to delay that timeline. Or if it is a work goal, there may be an emergency that comes up where we have to delay that a little bit. As long as there's a conversation about that, if you as the supervisor are responsible for making sure that goal is achieved, an ongoing conversation of like, Alvin, I know you really want to improve on your communication, but we don't have a budget right now for training. Let's talk about it in the next 3 months because I really want to get you there, right? So that ongoing conversation, if it does involve other people, because a lot of times companies get really excited about things and they say, okay, we're shifting gears. And then it leaves employees really confused if we're switching gears too much, right? What goals are important to our company or our department right now, and which ones are we leaving on the back burner? So another important reason for setting goals is then that kind of dictates our time and how we manage our time, right? Once we know what's really important to us, again, this could be personally or it can be within our workplace, then we can prioritize our goals and tasks better. And this is a tried and true model from Stephen Covey and the great iconic book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And it puts all of our goals and tasks into categories of 4. So category 1 is this is important and urgent. So is this really focusing on my goals right now? Is it important? Is it urgent? Do I really need to take action right now? Number 2 is urgent but less important. So we might get interrupted when we're trying to pursue our goal, but it's urgent. We might get an email that has a big exclamation point, so we have to, delay some of the action items. And then 3 is it's important but not urgent. So maybe some of those planning sessions that we're doing, it's important to get done, but it's not as urgent as other areas. And then 4, unimportant and not urgent. And here's some examples of how those show up. So important and urgent would be, those daily crises that come up where we really need to get those done before anything else, or a deadline that we really need to meet. Urgent but not important might be, again, those daily interruptions. Again, if you are a supervisor, people will call you. They have things going on they need to share with you, reports that need to get done, or some emails and calls. Not urgent, but it is important, again, are those planning times, those times when we really need to think about what the next week looks like, what the next month looks like, and how we're doing, maybe looking at our goal and how we're doing and tracking that. One suggestion is to know what the best time of day for you is when you might not be having interruptions or you might not be having to deal with outside or external emergencies. Is it early in the morning? Is it later in the evening when people have gone home? What is the best time of day for you to do that planning time? And then building relationships, right? That's very important, right? Especially if you have a team of people, but it's not urgent, but it can get to urgency if you don't put focus on it, right? If you don't pay attention, if you just put it to the wayside, it still needs some action. And our health, right? A lot of times we just are running on that treadmill but not physically running on that treadmill. So we need to make time for it. The last one, not important and not urgent. Hopefully we're not focusing our time too much on this, but my goodness, we spend a lot of time receiving spam email and deleting it. Some of us, will just focus on busy work so we don't have to do that inner thinking or that self-reflection. We just stay busy, but is it really productive? Is it really getting us to where we want to go? And then I don't even need to say it. We all have those devices. I'm sure everybody's got their phone right next to them. And all the pings and notifications that are telling us we need to look at that video or this is what's coming up on our calendar can take us away from really focusing on what's important to us. So once we've got the core values, we've created some goals, now we really have to think about ourselves and how we're showing up for that. And that's where emotional intelligence comes in, because we want to stay motivated, we want to be inspired, and also we want to show up to work in a positive way as well. So thinking about emotional intelligence and thinking about how you show up. How did you react the last time you were cut off in traffic? Did that linger with you? Did it put you in a bad mood? Did you show up to work in a negative mood? What about when your boss gave you additional work and a really short deadline? How did you react? What were your triggers? Or your software program locked you out for the 5th time? Are these things that linger with you? And that's part of emotional intelligence, is recognizing that. But when we react to these things and they linger, it's what is known as the spillover effect, meaning that it spills over into work, right? If I come into work with a bad mood, I'm probably influencing others, right? Or in a positive mood, it has both effects, right? If we're positive, we just accomplished a goal. I lost 5 pounds last week. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling energized, and we're showing up to work. That keeps us going, but it also influences those who we work with. And if we're collaborating on achieving a goal together, that has that domino effect, right? So part of emotional intelligence is managing our emotions and those triggers so that we stay motivated and that we can help our teammates manage their emotions. Because you could be the most positive person, but if you have someone that's constantly negative or constantly down because of incidents that happen externally or outside of work, that will influence and impact other people. And emotional intelligence is really that capacity for us to recognize our own feelings and those of others, to motivate ourselves, and to really manage our emotions in our relationships. And there's 4 elements. So there's self-awareness, right? So really knowing ourselves, knowing our core values, also knowing what triggers us, right? What are those emotions that come up that make us feel sad or angry or disgruntled or confused, right? And also how other people perceive us. How are we showing up at work, and how are other people perceiving us? And then self-management. How are we managing ourselves? How are we managing our time? And then we have social competencies, which is social awareness, right? So I've done all the reflection on myself, but what about the other people that I work with? Can I pick up on their feelings when we're in a meeting? Can I read the room? Can I tell when my top performers aren't performing well, or my colleagues? Do I have that empathy? Am I able to put myself in their shoes? And then lastly is relationship management and managing relationships. Am I giving enough time to my employees? Am I having enough one-on-one check-ins and conversations? Am I just having regular conversations just to check in with people and make sure that everything's going okay? Because relationships are based on every conversation that we have. So if every conversation we have with someone is usually negative, then that's probably not building, a foundation of trust within that relationship. We're not perfect. We're going to have ebbs and flows, but you want to be able to have effective and productive communication with those that you work with. So here are some ways just to increase our self-awareness. If you think, gosh, I don't know what my triggers are. And the biggest one, which I have a sign on my bulletin board right in front of me that says, slow down. We are all running on that treadmill. We are all trying to keep up with the pace of change and the pace of technology, and we're human beings. So in order to get some reflection, in order to be able to see where we want to go, to get those visions, to know those core values, we've got to slow down and take a pause, right? We're so busy. When you slow down, you're able to observe your emotions. You can pick up on your triggers if you kind of track yourself throughout the day. What made me really upset or irritated at that point? Was it just that I was hangry and I needed something to eat, or was it something deeper? And then if you really do have trouble with acknowledging or recognizing your emotions, ask other people what they, people close to you, family and friends, people that you trust. They will tell you how you handle your emotions. So got to be brave. You've got to be able to listen to what they say, but it can be really impactful. And then examine how you respond to stress throughout the day. Again, what are the triggers there? There's always going to be stress at work. There's going to be stress in life. How do we manage it? How do we navigate through those difficult moments? Any other tips that you have for increasing self-awareness and just being in the moment? Feel free to put those in the chat. I know we have a wealth of knowledge and experience here. And then also on the other side of the coin, the social competency, how do we improve our social awareness? We might be an individual who really has a really independent job. And so we don't pick up on what's happening with everybody else, or we don't pick up on what's happening in a meeting or a room, or we just say what we want to and we don't even think about other people. So it's something, emotional intelligence is something you can increase and develop throughout your lifetime. We're all different, we're all unique. It may not be your strength, but you can improve in that. So getting to know people, right? Picking up on body language when you have that opportunity to be face to face with people. Your body language should always align with what you're saying. If you're saying, this is going to be a great year, but your arms are crossed and you're really doubtful of it, that's what people are going to pick up on. So you always want to align your body language with how you're communicating and what you're communicating to others. And then really listening, really putting those gadgets away. We have thousands of thoughts going in our brain every day. So how can we quiet that mind so that we can listen to our colleagues, we can listen to our peers. We're better able to put ourselves in their situation when we understand where they're coming from, what their perspective is. And then another part is being able to set boundaries. And as I said, we're all individuals, we're all unique. Many of us are hardwired to achieve, to get things done, to be super responsible, to take ownership of things. And sometimes other people will notice that and they'll want to take advantage. So setting some boundaries, right? Really saying, when I'm overwhelmed, I have too much on my plate, and so that you're not creating barriers, so that you're just not talking to anybody anymore just because they're giving you assignments. It's not a reward to overwhelm someone with more assignments. Also figuring out how you do your own best work. Sometimes I need some quiet time, telling that to your supervisor, your manager, I need some quiet time in the morning, or I need to work from home a couple days a week, establishing those agreements, and also saying things from another person's perspective when they do require you to meet a deadline or to participate in a meeting, understanding why, so that you don't feel like it's a waste of your time. And making those agreements so they're long-term, and that everybody's winning in the situation. You're not just doing something in the short term because you're afraid of what will happen, but you're knowing that in the future you're going to be better. It's going to be better balanced, right? I know a lot of people have a hard time with setting boundaries. Lastly, as we wrap this up, self-motivation, keeping in mind, what does motivate you at work? What are the little things, right? A lot of those huge things you guys talked about were great accomplishments, but what are the little things every day that you can accomplish that are going to give you that sense of purpose and meaning, that is going to just push the lever a little bit forward every day? Think about those. And then here's just some tips on self-motivation, remembering your why, tracking progress, focusing on what you do well, building your skills, whatever it is that really motivates you, that may be lacking right now. How do you fill it in? Creativity. What can you do to be more creative? Either within work, what kind of environment can you create so that you're more creative? Who do you need to hang out with that will make you more creative? What kind of activities can you do with peers and employees to brainstorm new ideas so that you feel more creative? And part of self-leadership is also knowing when to take care of ourselves, when to slow down, take a breather, unplug, do what we need to do so we can achieve those goals. It's a core foundation of self-leadership, because it's putting on that oxygen mask that we've all heard of, right? When we lead ourselves effectively, we can manage our own well-being, right? We take care of our own selves, and then if we are in the position of leading others, we'll do so more effectively as well. So moving forward, what is one thing that you can take action on today to lead your best self? One thing, that's all I ask. And as you think about that, I will pass the baton to Anna to wrap it up.
All right. Thank you, Keisha. I love this training. There it is. Cool. So as I mentioned at the top of the hour, we do have a very brief survey. Again, it's only 5 questions. It takes about a minute to complete. So we would really love your participation. I'm going to put a link into the chat as well for your convenience. So you can either scan that QR code that you see on the screen, or you can click on the link in the chat. Speaking of the chat, I did also, if you scroll up a tiny bit, I did put the link to the next training coming up on November 12th, which is CSI HR, Investigating Workplace Problems. So a really good compliance training. We really encourage you all to sign up. Again, this is complimentary thanks to our partners over at San Bernardino County. So take advantage of that resource available to you. And then as you see on the screen, we do have some continuing education codes for you if you are eligible for HRCI or SHRM certification. HRCI code 718109, SHRM code 25-SN4PZ. Please always reach out to us at ceainfo@employers.org, or always call your San Bernardino HR hotline, and we're more than happy to give you guidance on what to do with those codes. I see lots of thank yous coming into the chat, so we love that feedback. Take the survey. We would love to hear more about what you liked and would like to see more of in the future. Deneen, did you have any final words you'd like to share with everyone?
I don't, just thank you. And again, I put a copy of our business services flyer in the chat. And like I said, there's a QR code in there, which will show you the different business service reps, specialists, and anybody you contact. Either ourselves will get in contact with you and work with you on what it is that you're looking for, or we'll make sure to get you in contact with the person that would assist you. And I can put it in again, or you guys can scroll up and get that.
I think what I'll do is I'll make everyone happy, and I'll include that along with the handouts when
Perfect.
I follow up and send. I'm just going to pull the entire attendee list, and that way everyone will have it, whether you put your email in there or not. I'm going to make sure I send that. So look for that within the next 20 or so minutes from me, okay? But again, I just want to thank you all for sharing your time with us this morning. I know we're a couple minutes over, so thank you for sticking with us. Thank you, Keisha and Mary, for sharing your time and expertise. Again, thank you to Deneen and the entire San Bernardino County for all you do for employers in your area. And we look forward to seeing you on November 12th, everyone. Thank you so much. Cheers.